What is up, my fellow Dovakins? Welcome to this Photoshop tutorial for Doctor Who Regeneration. I have also created a pack including loads of different FX, which will be available in the description using a Google Drive link, and you can download that, take it into Photoshop and use it as part of this tutorial. But other than that, let's just get straight into the tutorial. So I actually have this right here, which is the image I'm going to be working on today. And I have the Regen FX pack open. So when you open it like this, you're going to have this. Just turn this off and then you'll get all your FX. I'm going to just click on that and then hold the right click and drag all the way into my document. And that will paste it in there. So I can turn this off and then start working on this document. I'm going to move this to the bottom. Now I'm going to click on this and then Control-Shift-N. And that will create a new layer. With this new layer, we're going to start working around the face, and then we'll use more of the FX a bit later on. So first we need to get like a yellow colour. And with this yellow colour, I'm going to take the paintbrush tool, we're going to make sure it's a soft brown brush, and we're going to paint onto his face. So we're going to just paint most of the details in there, right now. And then once that's done, we're going to change the blending mode to lighten or screen tends to work. I think for this one, screen, and then I can turn down the fill a little bit and get a lighter effect on the face. So we don't want to add too much yet. This is just for the details. We're going to start adding more layers and just keep doing that and building around yellow, red and orange. So this time I'm going to go down to an orange. And with this orange I'm going to paint more central to his face. So if I do that, that will create a kind of yellow around the edge, orange in the center type of effect. And then I can add a blend mode to this. So I'm going to try... Soft light looks good for this image. Turn it down a little bit. Maybe a lot. So have it very low. Then I'm going to add another layer and do the same thing. I'm going to go back to yellow this time. With this yellow, I might turn down the flow a little bit so it's not as strong. And then I'm just going to paint on the face. And there we go. Try blend mode, like screen will work. We can just turn down the fill a little bit. And then we can add some red in there as well. So let's do this on a new layer. Add some red in. And then try blend mode for that. For this one, soft light seems to be working the best. So with this one, I'm just going to put it to about there, because that looks great. Now I'm going to open up the Regen FX pack. And inside of this Regen FX pack, I can just drag these things in and start creating particles, lightning, all types of things around his face. So I have this here. I'm going to find what I want, turn off every single layer. And I'm also going to turn off this above layer. And then I will find what I want inside of here. So I think I'm going to start with some particles. I don't know, smoke looks great. So maybe we'll try that one. I'm going to duplicate it by Ctrl-J, and then I'm going to drag it up. So that I'm not messing up the original. And then I'm going to turn on all my layers, and drag this over the top. And now this looks kind of like the Regeneration energy. So let's just move it around with Ctrl-T, and then we can turn this thing around and get it somewhere over his face. Can also bring down the size a little bit, so it's obviously not as big. That thing is like quite big on this image especially. And then most around the face. And then I can also add warp to it. So warp will kind of just bring out some of these areas. Make them look more around the face. And then press enter. And now I can start using the eraser brush. So I'm going to switch that over here. And I'm going to erase some of these areas using a soft round brush. I'm also going to turn down my flow and opacity a little bit, so that it's not strong around this area. Softer it gets, the better it's going to look. And then more around the centre of the face, start removing most of that and keep the face sort of in there. Because the more of the face you have in, the better it's going to look as like a whole effect around his face. So that looks pretty good. And now I can start dragging in more effects. So I'm going to group every single layer that I've got here by clicking on the bottom one and then holding down shift and clicking on the top and then Control G to group. Now I can just turn this whole thing off and look through these effects. So I think I want this particles. So I'm going to Control J and move it up. And then we'll add over the top. I can turn off this thing and I can turn this back on. Now we have some particles in there. And we can just turn these down a little bit because they're a little bit big. And figure out where we want to go from. So I'm going to kind of just get like the center of this bit over his face. And then hit enter. Now, the blending mode is already set to screen. I set that by default. I can just already start like erasing all of these bits. And making it look a lot better around his face. So I might want to turn up flow and opacity again. And then, so I'll just get rid of some of that. Keep some hanging off the edge because it looks like it's actually flowing upwards or outwards. And that's probably the best for this effect right here. Having a little bit of extra flow. So now I'm going to move more from the center, but I'm going to turn on my flow a little bit. Because I don't want to remove loads. Kind of needs to be a smooth transition. Or maybe I could just start moving little bits like this, rather than the whole thing. And now that looks great. And go back to my Regen FX and I can get out some more. Turning off this. And I think this time I'm going to go with one of the lightning effects. I'm not sure which one. Probably this one. And now these are really useful because you can create like some really insane detail around the side of the face. It's very subtle, but it works as part of this actual thing. So just obviously turn down the size of that thing because it's massive compared to this. And hit enter. And now I can use the eraser brush on this thing. But it's a smart object, so rasterize it first. And the eraser brush, I can just get rid of what I don't want, keeping what I want. So I'm going to get rid of most of these bits. And keep in probably some of these bits. They'll look great. And then Control T and move it around. Just need to get rid of that extra bit. And then I can turn this around, place it wherever, and do some extra stuff. So I think if I turn this around a little bit, line it up with this face right here, it's going to look great. And that's fine. Now I can try with blend mode. So for this, overlay kind of works. Now we're just going to take the brush again, the eraser, start erasing some of these areas, make it a little more part of his face. So it's very small and subtle, but it adds to it. You can even get rid of some of these extra bits to make it blend some more. Now, I can just keep going with these effects, adding more and more and more and building on them. So let's try big soft particles. Duplicate that one and move it in over the top. Close that group and then turn it on. And obviously size it down because this thing's very big. I think I created the document at about 4,000 pixels. And we can move this in. And find where we want to put it in. So I'm going to try and get a more moving upwards effect with this one. And sort of put it in there. Another whack. And then I can start erasing the parts that I don't want. So I'm going to turn up my flow and opacity. I just get rid of these main parts around the areas where it's not needed. So now the closer we're getting in, we can start just taking more refinements and start going around these edges. And the more we go around these edges, the better it's going to look in the end. So we're just going to get a smoother transition on these bits. Not strong. That looks pretty great. So now we can change the blend mode maybe. So I could make it softer or harder. Screen's fine. Just get rid of some around the face and kind of keep it more subtle rather than all over the place. So if you want for these could just be like extra effects that you're adding, rather than something really crazy. For these little particles, so that they look like they're actually coming off the original effect. So, sort of around the face, just gone, and mainly at this bottom part. Do the same with this. Not this. This one, I think. Get rid of some of those parts and just smoothen them out more towards the top of the face. So it's not as strong. But it kind of works and comes in there to make a little bit of an extra effect. And you can just move out most of the face. And then the more it moves out to the edges of the face, it's going to look a little bit better. I'm also going to turn down the opacity of this, or the fill. Either one is fine. Just to make that look a little bit more blended now. And yeah, that's the basis of making a regeneration effect. You can keep messing about with this, doing a whole bunch of stuff using this FX pack. But I've created the FX pack. This is a tutorial now to sort of lay it out. Until the next video. Peace.